Have you ever walked into a place that made your stomach drop, even though nothing was actually wrong? The lights were on. The walls looked normal. The air was still. But something deep inside you whispered, "You shouldn't be here." Millions of people know that feeling today because of the Backrooms, an internet legend about endless yellow hallways hidden just beyond reality. According to the story, one wrong step, one impossible glitch, and you could find yourself trapped in a maze where every room looks the same and every direction feels wrong. It's only fiction. But the feeling behind it isn't. That's because across the United States, there are real places that leave people describing almost the exact same experience. Endless corridors, empty buildings, silent underground tunnels, places so strangely familiar that they seem disconnected from the world outside. So tonight, we're asking a different question. What if the Backrooms were never inspired by imagination alone? What if they were inspired by places that already exist? The Backrooms first appeared online in 2019, when a single photograph of an empty yellow room began spreading across the internet. There were no monsters hiding in the image. No blood. No broken windows. Just faded wallpaper, stained carpet, fluorescent lights, and a layout that seemed to continue forever. That ordinary photograph became one of the internet's most recognizable modern myths. Yet as the legend grew, something unexpected happened. People didn't just enjoy the story. They remembered places that felt exactly like it. An abandoned shopping mall, a silent hotel floor, a forgotten office hallway after midnight, an airport corridor with no travelers. Many described the same strange sensation, that they weren't scared of something they could see. They were unsettled by something they couldn't explain. Psychologists have a name for environments like these: liminal spaces. Places built for passing through, not staying. When those spaces become unusually empty, the brain begins searching for something it expects to find. Voices, footsteps, movement. When none of those things are there, ordinary places can begin to feel disturbingly unreal. And that's what led us across America, searching for locations where reality feels just a little too thin. Our first stop is hidden beneath one of the busiest cities in the country, where thousands of people unknowingly walk through a place that feels uncannily close to the Backrooms. Our investigation begins beneath one of the brightest cities on Earth. Las Vegas is built to overwhelm the senses. Neon lights flood the streets. Music spills from every casino entrance. Millions of visitors fill the sidewalks at almost every hour of the day. But beneath that nonstop energy is a world most people never see. Hidden below the famous Las Vegas Strip is a vast network of flood control tunnels. Built to carry away dangerous flash floods, these concrete passageways stretch for miles beneath the city. They weren't designed to be mysterious. They were built to solve a practical problem. Yet once you're inside, practicality quickly gives way to something else. The sound of the city disappears. Natural light vanishes. Every tunnel seems to lead into another tunnel. The walls barely change. The ceiling remains the same height. Long stretches of concrete repeat over and over again until your sense of direction begins to weaken. For years, journalists, outreach workers, and documentary filmmakers have documented people living inside parts of these tunnels. Their stories reveal a hidden community surviving beneath one of America's busiest tourist destinations. Many first-time visitors describe the same unexpected reaction. It's not fear of what's hiding in the darkness. It's the unsettling feeling that the outside world has simply disappeared. Without windows, changing scenery, or familiar landmarks, the brain loses many of the visual clues it normally uses to understand space. Minutes begin to feel longer. Distances become harder to judge. Every turn looks strangely familiar. It's a psychological effect, not a supernatural one. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful. The deeper you walk, the more your mind begins asking questions that logic can't immediately answer. Have I already been here? Didn't that wall look exactly the same? Why does every direction feel identical? Those are the same questions that sit at the heart of the Backrooms myth. Not because reality has changed, but because your brain can no longer trust its own map. As strange as those tunnels feel, they aren't the only place in America where ordinary architecture creates extraordinary emotions. More than 2,000 miles away, outside Buffalo, New York, stands the remains of the Bethlehem Steel complex. For most of the 20th century, this was one of the largest steel-producing facilities in the world. Thousands of workers passed through its buildings every day. The constant roar of machinery, sparks, and molten steel defined the landscape for generations. Then the machines stopped. Today, much of the massive complex stands silent. Towering industrial halls stretch into darkness. Endless corridors connect buildings that once pulsed with activity. Staircases climb toward empty platforms overlooking machinery that no longer moves. Urban explorers who legally photograph preserved sections often describe something surprising. The silence feels heavier than the building itself. Every room appears to repeat the last one. The farther they walk, the more difficult it becomes to judge scale. A hallway that looks 100 feet long somehow feels endless. Large spaces become strangely featureless, making it easy to lose track of where you've been. Psychologists call this spatial monotony, an environment where repeated architecture provides too few unique landmarks for the brain to build a reliable mental map. When every hallway looks alike, every doorway has the same shape, every wall shares the same color, your sense of orientation slowly begins to break down. This isn't unique to abandoned factories. The same effect has been reported in convention centers after closing hours, empty office buildings during holiday weekends, hospital service corridors, underground parking garages, and even airports late at night. These places were never designed to frighten people. They simply become unsettling when they're missing the one thing they were built for: people. That absence changes everything. A shopping mall without shoppers no longer feels like a mall. A school without students no longer feels like a school. A hotel hallway with no voices behind the doors suddenly feels much longer than it really is. The architecture hasn't changed. Only our perception has. And that's the most fascinating part of this investigation. The Backrooms never needed monsters to become one of the internet's most enduring mysteries. Reality was already capable of creating the same feeling on its own. But there is one location unlike any other we've explored. A place almost every American recognizes. A place designed to welcome thousands of people every single day. Yet on the rare occasions when it falls completely silent, visitors describe an experience so surreal that many say it feels less like an empty building and more like walking through a world that everyone else has somehow vanished from. Our final location is one of the busiest places in America, an airport. Millions of people pass through airports every day. They are designed for movement. Voices echo through terminals. Screens flicker with departures and arrivals. Footsteps, conversations, rolling suitcases. These sounds become part of the background. But when those sounds disappear, something strange happens. During overnight hours, weather delays, or rare moments of complete stillness, even the world's largest airports can feel profoundly different. Long corridors stretch into the distance. Empty gates sit beneath fluorescent lights. Escalators continue moving with no passengers. Entire sections of the building seem frozen in time. Nothing is wrong. And yet, something feels wrong. Psychologists believe this reaction comes from a simple truth about the human mind. We don't experience places exactly as they are. We experience them through memory, expectation, and pattern recognition. A school is supposed to have students. A shopping mall is supposed to have crowds. An airport is supposed to have travelers. When those expectations suddenly disappear, the brain begins searching for an explanation. That search creates an emotion many people struggle to describe. Not fear. Not danger. Just the feeling that reality has shifted slightly out of place. Perhaps that's why the backrooms spread so quickly across the internet. The yellow rooms were fictional. The endless maze was fictional. But the emotion behind them was not. It was something millions of people had already experienced. A silent hotel hallway late at night. An office building during a holiday weekend. An empty parking garage. A deserted movie theater after the last showing. Ordinary places. Extraordinary feelings. After exploring tunnels beneath Las Vegas, abandoned industrial spaces in New York, and the strange psychology of empty public places, one thing becomes clear. The backrooms are not a hidden dimension waiting behind reality. But reality itself is often stranger than we expect. Sometimes architecture, silence, memory, and isolation combine in ways that make familiar places feel completely unfamiliar. And those moments stay with us. Years later, people can still remember a hallway they walked through once. A room they cannot explain. A building that felt strangely disconnected from the world outside. Maybe that's because these places remind us of something deeply human. We spend our lives moving through spaces built by other people. Airports, schools, offices, hotels, malls, corridors. Most of the time, we never stop to notice them. Until one day, for just a moment, a familiar place becomes unfamiliar. The lights hum quietly overhead. The hallway stretches farther than it should. The silence feels heavier than normal. And for a second, you wonder if you've stepped into a place that was never meant to be empty. If you've ever had a moment like that. An empty building. A silent corridor. A place that felt strangely unreal. You probably remember it even now.